What is up, guys? It's Jake from State Farm and that one stupid team called Team Insanity, and we are bringing you the Dye DM15 review. I know that the DM or the M2 is coming out. That review is going to be coming up later. Some people that buy used or still buying new might want look into the DM15. So we're going to go ahead and do a review on it because we've shot it and used it lots. So out of the box, you're going to get this cool little carrying case. It's a nice dye carrying case. Upon further inspection on opening, this bad boy, this is the whole reason why ISIS is killing people, is for dye for dye tools right here. Because this is the best tool set I have ever seen. I mean, it's really freaking awesome, especially if you own a dye gun. If you own a dye gun, it's almost a must-have. I mean, it's not a must-have. I got away with it. But when my ASA needed to be maintained, needed to be done by a dye tool set. So you get all your Allen wrenches that you're going to need. Plus, you get 2 O-ring picks on there. So you can go ahead and maintenance that. You get a little screwdriver, a small one. Like I said, you get the ASA one, and there's just a ton of other tools in here that you need. And lots of people fight over these at the field. Like I said, lots of people are killing each other just for these stupid tool sets, because they're not, I mean, they're a little expensive just for a tool set, but they are freaking amazing because they have everything that you're going to need in here on just a normal day of play crunched into one little tool kit. So if you don't actually have a dye tool set in your gear bag or anything like that, I would definitely maybe suggest thinking about picking one up, because like I said, it has all the essentials that a normal paintball player is going to need. You're also going to get some lubrication just in case you need some extra for your condoms. Dye lube is great, especially for dye guns. I'll get into that. You get the best barrel in the world. Get the ultralight barrel, along with the ultralight and boomstick barrels are amazing. Get this pretty awesome spare parts kit. Color-coded O-rings, as you can see, they're all colored. Get extra screws, extra detents, eye-pipe stuff, and they're all color-coded, and I'll get into that if you don't know what the color-coded stuff is. Owner's manual, full colored. Let me find you a good, I mean, just take my word for it, it's full colored. Yeah, there you can see that there's color in that part, and then you can, I don't know, there's color in that one too, so it's a full color. Take my word for it. If you don't believe me, screw off. And then you get a certificate of authenticity if this is a Marcello edition, and that's just saying that this is a Marcello edition. This gun that we actually have, plus you get a warranty card. This gun here, this is a Marcello Margot DM15, sexiest goddamn marker you'll ever find. This is the only one that was actually, well, maybe not the only one, but this is the only one that we know of on the market that has been shot and sold by Marcello himself. He actually used this gun. There is just a series of DMs. There's 30 of them. This is number 6, I believe. Yeah, this is number 6 of 30, and this one came from Marcello himself, actually, so it's a pretty cool marker. Screw in the ultralight barrel. Now, when you're going to go screw this in, if you're new to DM or dye series, once the barrel stops, don't torque it down, okay? You'll crush the eye pipe. Bad idea. Don't keep twisting. So here is the beast. Now, as you guys know, I am a huge dye fan, especially with their DMs. I owned a DM for a long period of time. I owned a sexy blue cloth. I wanted to pick this up for a long time. DJ never sold it, and then Fag Boy Jacob went ahead and jumped on it when all of a sudden DJ was selling it, and I was buying, and I bought my Onslaught. So he kind of got lucky. So first things off the bat, if you guys don't know, like I said earlier, Dye Ultralight barrel. It's basically the best barrel that I've ever shot. I love it. You can put the boomstick on it. It's trusted by Team Insanity. I don't care what you say, it's better than the shaft barrels, the shaft 4 I should say. It's better than those. It's better than, Stella's up there. I'm not going to lie. It's better than the Empire barrels, but it's a great barrel system. I don't know what it is, but it's ball on ball every single time, and it also has to do with the gun as well. But Barrel system's absolutely amazing. Nice and quiet barrels, pretty freaking accurate. The new redesigned, the 2015s and the 2014s had a few things different in terms of the milling and the new designed feed neck, which was kind of cool because you actually have, like, if you have like an odd size, the old DMs, you had to just twist it to sort of you know, tighten it and loosen it. This, they actually put the twist knob in there because if you're kind of like at a half twist, it was either you're clamping down your hopper too tight or you were clamping it down too loose. If you guys know what I'm talking about, like, this never used to be here. It was just you twist, you know, I mean, go back and watch the DM14 review and know what I mean. But you had to make like a full twist, and some people with spires were kind of having an issue, like, hey, my feed neck's too small to fit on this part. I don't know, it was just, so they put that in. It was actually really, really cool. And so they put that in there. They didn't really change the god-awful ASA, but I have to say that this ASA is easier to turn on and off than a DM14 ASA. I don't know what it is, because it's basically the same exact ASA from my understanding. And that makes it pretty freaking awesome, because the DM14 ASA and every other die ASA other than the new M2 ASA that it looks like is absolutely terrible. Now, what's also really cool, I believe this is the only, I believe this is one of the only, I'm not 100% sure if the shocker can do it or not, but this rail, or this ASA, from my understanding, I've never seen it done, or we haven't done it, but you can actually move this ASA back and forth on the actual body, and this is the only, from my understanding, I don't know if the shocker is one of them. I know all the Bob Longs aren't. I know the Planet Eclipses aren't. I don't think the CS one is. But this is the only non-macro lined ASA that can actually move back and forth, so you can adjust it on the gun itself, which is actually pretty cool. So if you guys like to run like me, when I was using the DM14, I put the ASA forward a little bit, and I ran a 90 cubic inch tank on it because I had massive amounts of efficiency. So that's definitely an option that you can go ahead and take care of, because you definitely want to go ahead and do that. Because if you're running, you know, and even if you're running a smaller tank for some reason, you can move it back, or you can fit it to your preference. I haven't seen another gun that doesn't have a macro line that you can do that on. Now, let me just say is that they slimmed down the milling, and they made the 15 grips a little bit thinner than the 14 grips. That was the only thing that I really had an issue with on the 14 versus, is that the grips were kind of a little bit fatter. But to me, that wasn't a terrible deal, because I could totally get over it, because most of the time I wrap my thumb around the barrel up here like this, but every now and then I like to just hold my gun just right here like this sometimes, and it kind of got a little every now and then. So I just this is definitely a lot more comfortable now. Die definitely listened. The back grip, amazing. If you guys don't know anything about the Die ultralight frames, they are the best, absolutely, in my personal opinion, the most comfortable grip frames on the market. I own 2 Bob Long guns. I own a Vanquish. The Vanquish is actually really nice too. But I've owned several guns, and out of all of them, I have to say the Die ultralight grip frame is probably, it's got to be my most favorite. It's comfortable how it fits in my hands. It feels absolutely amazing, and it's so well balanced. I don't know what it is, but it just draws me right to it every single time. Just the ergonomics of this gun is absolutely fantastic, and that's one thing that I've always loved about the DM/NT series. That's one thing that Die has always done right, is that they know how to make their guns feel so damn perfect in the hands, and it feels absolutely amazing. They didn't change that with the 15. Now, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, it doesn't have an OLED. It doesn't have an OLED because of that reason. I said that in the DM14 review, and I also said that 2-3 years ago in the DM12 review, way back when I had my DM12. I said that way before anyone else was even saying that. I said a long time ago, they don't put OLEDs in their boards because it's going to compromise the thinness of the actual grip frame itself. It's the thinnest grip frame I've ever seen. I mean, if you take the grips off, like I said, it is the absolute thinnest grip frame all the way down up top. It's the thinnest that I've ever seen in my entire paintball career. It's really, really thin. So with that being said, when you go ahead and put a screen in there, like Planet Eclipse, Bob Long, basically anyone that has an OLED, I mean, you're packing more wiring, and I mean, you're packing a screen in there. It's going to make it a little bit thicker. Dye didn't want to do that. I absolutely love that. I don't have a problem with that because 99% of the time, the field limit's going to be 12. Now it's sort of, a lot of fields are getting like religiously on 10.2, a lot of places. But even if it's still 12.5 at some fields, I mean, I could really care less. I'll still shoot at 10.2. And I mean, how often can Geo players, or basically anyone but Bob Long players, if you have a VCOM like myself, how often can you say you go in and change your dwell? Just sort of think about that in your mind, is how often does a normal paintball player change their dwell or their trigger debounce or anything other than that? It's very, very, very rare, okay? The only reason why I've ever messed around with my dwell on my VCOM is simply because I was just tuning it a different style, okay? And you can do that with Bob Longs, which is the only reason why I did that. Now, it's nice to have it in a Bob Long because you tinker with settings all the time. Yeah, in a simple spool like this, you don't really do that. In the Luxes, you don't sort of mess around. The only kind of thing that you really mess around with is the balls per second. And at least here in Michigan, basically every field around here, every single tournament, every place around here is either uncapped semi or 10.2 PSP. That's it. That's what it is. It's not like you go to one field, it's 12.5, you go to another field, it's semi, you go over here. At least from in my area, for my personal opinion, for my personal use, I don't know what you guys have, but in my personal area over here, all the fields, and even when we've traveled to Living Legends and we've traveled to a ton of big games around in our area, 99% of the time it's either 12.5 or 10.2 capped. And if it's 12.5 capped, I'm normally like, whatever. I'll just still shoot 10.2 because I'm in a safe paint. Whatever. That's how I don't change my settings. Okay, now if you're someone that plays at 50 different fields and they have all different field rules and you like to change your dwell on your whatever gun you have, sure, go for it. Don't buy a DM. It's not for you if you get butt hurt because it doesn't have an OLED. But let me tell you, you're missing out on a smoother shooting gun and a gun that has better ergonomics. Just saying. So I have to say, actually we're going to bring in the camera and we're going to do the maintenance first before I go ahead and get any farther into the conclusion. Alright, so here we go into the maintenance. Now let me tell you, any problems that you're going to have with this DM or any DM in the future, all it's going to be, 99% of the time, is going to be user error. Okay, let me just start off by saying that. Everything that if you ever see on the internet, oh, I had so much problems with my DM, yeah, it's because you treated it like shit, okay? When I go to the field and if I go ahead and fix a DM or something like that, it's because the person treated their gun like complete horse shit, okay? And they don't maintenance it, that kind of stuff. This thing, like this is getting about plus or minus 2 or 3 over a chronograph, and because it's just very, very well maintenance, it's broken in. Once you get 5 to 10 cases through it, it's going to shoot even better as it did once you first got it. Now, first things first, as you're taking it apart, I'm going to go ahead and show you, if you guys are dye noobs, the eye pipe system. Let me go ahead and just try to, you have to be kind of careful with it and slowly work it out. Nice and easy. That bad boy is definitely dirty as shit. Now, you want to clean this off every now and then. This is a cracked eye pipe. It's still working, but it's definitely going to need to be replaced soon. You don't want to go ahead and dry fire your gun with no barrel in it, because then you're going to shoot out your eye pipe. Okay, that's what most of the people have problems with. Now, I don't have a microfiber because Jacob didn't have any laying around, so I'm just using the old Jacob Loader Special Raza jersey. I'd use that for my Onslaught because it's basically made out of a microfiber material. So I'm just going to clean this off, and like I said, this is a cracked eye pipe, probably because it was taken out wrong, it was dry fired, I don't know, and it's just very, very well used. You're going to have to replace these after several thousand shots because, I mean, they are plastic, but let me tell you about them is that this is what holds your detents and everything else. If you go ahead and if you somehow manage to break a ball like a retard, then what's going to happen is that, I mean, this is what's the front bolt, or like not the front bolt, but the front bolt O-ring is going to slide across this eye pipe. It's actually going to squeegee it, okay? So you're going to have a nice clean area, so you're still going to be able to, your eyes will still be able to read, your detents will be perfectly cleaned off, so you don't have to worry about, you know, having to go and unscrew eye covers and all that stuff. When the Planet Eclipse E-Tech was chopping a ton of paint, when I had my bob long in the winter time when I first got it, I was trying to shoot Marbleizer. It did great, except I did get one sort of oblong ball, and because it was so damn brittle, there was one pod that it just did not agree with, so I chopped 1 or 2 balls, so I had to actually go in, unscrew the eye covers and everything, because paint gets in those eye covers, or not in the eye cover, but if they get in the eyes, it jams up the eyes and then it won't read the balls correctly. So what happens is that you start getting all those misreads, and it's just a pain in the ass. So you want to slowly but surely work it in very, very carefully. Just have to work it in slowly. Now it's a toolless bolt disassembly. The thing about dye is that they absolutely just over-engineer everything to the living daylights. Say your bolt gets stuck in here, or like this bolt, it runs on a track system. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. I got to do it with my right hand on camera. That's my left hand, but I'm not. Okay. I'm kind of weak with my left thumb. So it runs on this track. You push down this button on the side, you'll see that move over, okay? What's kind of cool on the bottom is that you'll see that hole right there. This, you can actually stick an Allen wrench down in there. So say your bolt say this gets a bunch of dirt or gunk, or I don't know what happens, however you guys treat your guns. Like I said, 99% of the problems is people having issues. So Dye was just like, you know what, we're going to make a gun for the retards as well that don't maintenance their guns. So what they did is that you can stick an Allen wrench or an Allen key down right in there. You can unscrew this actual track, this black piece that moves back and forth that locks the bolt into place, and you can pull it out. So that way you can still maintenance your bolt. If something happens, and if you're in the middle of a tournament, or I don't know, say it's PSP Dallas or something like that, when, if you guys remember, they were having a blast in mud and all that stuff, just, I don't know, something happens like that, you can still get your bolt out and maintenance it. So that's a really cool design. So Dye thinks about that. What other companies actually have that implemented? I can tell you Bob Long, I don't have it on my VCOM. The Vanquish doesn't have anything like that. Just all the companies with toolless bolt disassemblies like that don't actually have anything set in place like that. Now to take this bad boy apart, it's really simple. I'll show you. And Jacob ran and got a microfiber because I guess he was tired of me using his nice dirty jersey. And I'm not going to actually lube this up that much because it's really, really well cleaned. It was already cleaned before this video. And it has Jacob's favorite lube on it, apparently, made specifically from DJ. His special lube, if you know what I mean. So, another thing, 99% of the problems if you have leaking issues, okay, basically with any gun actually, if you guys have any leaking issues with any gun, it's going to be this front sail O-ring, this red O-ring right here in between those two black, they're not actual O-rings, they're more so bumpers, but that sail O-ring, if you have any leaking down the barrel, that's going to be your man. If you have it coming out of the feed neck, if it's coming out anyplace else, that right there, that is your boy right there, okay? Now, say you just bought this DM and you got it in the mail, okay? You go ahead and air it up at the very beginning. It's your first time airing up your gun. Oh no, it's leaking out of this area of the grip frame. It's a blown solenoid. Actually not. Dye is the only company that has a solenoid that won't get over pressurized, okay? So after you hit about, say 300-ish feet per second. If you try to crank it up anything more than that, it's going to start purging out of the ASA, or not out of the ASA, my bad, out of the grip frame, out of the solenoid, so your solenoid doesn't pop, and so it doesn't become overpressurized, so you don't have to go buy a new $2,000 solenoid, because if you guys own a Plain Eclipse marker, you know how much a solenoid costs. If you guys own Empire, you don't know how much they cost because they send you them for free. But regardless, make sure that you're not going to bust your solenoid. Okay, so out of the box, say you know, the ones that they were, you know, maybe the pressure that they were running it on in the factory, maybe it got bumped around in shipping and all that, so some godforsaken reason, it bumped itself up to about 310 feet per second in the box. So that way, it's not going to happen, you're not going to pop a solenoid. People that owned or bought brand new Ego 11s and Geo 2.1s, and some even Geo 3s, especially the Ego 11s and Geo 2.1s when they were coming out. If you guys actually remember that, if you actually owned one, a guy at our field brought it out for the first time, aired it up, popped, blew a solenoid right there and then, because it overpressurized from the factory. So you don't have to worry about that when you're at the chrono range and you're trying to chrono it. You don't have to worry about that. It's a self-checking thing. So when a retard gets to the chrono station, or when they get it out of the box, I mean, I guess you can't control it out of the box, but if you get it out of the box, it's not going to explode, okay? Pretty freaking cool. No idea how the Tauntauns got their DM13s to shoot 400 feet per second. They must have tuned it with the LPR, but stuff like that happens. So also, this gun also has an LPR, okay? So another really cool thing, so you can actually tune this gun to several different ways of how you want to tune it. This is a Billy Wing bolt. This is its step up from the original DM14 bolt. Billy Wing bolt, awesome, great for tuning. You can run it at a lower dwell, and also less turns on the LPR, therefore giving a smoother shot. You're going to be able to slow down the bolt, so that way it's not going to shoot at, you know, say 15 milliseconds, you can slow it down to 12 milliseconds or something like that. The slower the bolt goes, the softer the shot and the smoother it's going to be. You're going to get it. That's why the DMs are very, very, very smooth. Not just that, but if you look at this hunk of metal that's right here, this is it's a big gun. All the DMs are tall and they're a little bit bigger. That way, you're not going to get a ton of kick. The heavier the gun, the little bit taller of a gun, the less barrel rise and the less kick you're going to get, okay? So it's a little bit more than weighs more than a Geo, it weighs more than a Bob Long, it weighs more than a MacDev for the most part, it weighs more than any Empire gun for the most part. Just by, you know, margin, it's not like it's 3 pounds heavier, but it's a little bit heavier than most of those guns that it's competition, but it's also smoother. So now with DMs, I always say less is more, okay? 100,000% less is more. Now with DMs, there's 5,000 O-rings on it. If you guys get a DM or a Bob Long, I highly, unless if you get a G6R, highly recommend Dow 33 or Sleek or Dilube or Monkey Poo. Those are all basically this, I just sort of named off all of the same exact lubes right there. They're all, you know, Monkey Poo, Sleek, all of that. You know, the Smart Parts, grease, anything like that, it's all going to be Dow 33 at the end of the day. That's what I recommend for any dye gun. That's what I've gotten the best performance out of. You can sort of get away with it on dye, not so much on other gun companies, but you can definitely, I say I've gotten the best performance from it. Works absolutely amazing. Also with these guns, with the DMs, less is more, okay? Don't over lube the gun too much, because if you, at least in my personal experience, I've owned probably more DMs than some of you people watching, and DJ's probably owned more DMs than everyone in the frickin' world combined, because he's owned all of them and owned a DM4 since, you know, 2004 or whenever they came out, you know, or whenever he got it. I think he got it in 2006. I can't remember, but he owned a DM for that frickin' long, and he's owned basically every single DM about 5 times. He's probably owned 30 billion DM15s by now. But so like I said, we have a lot of experience here at Team Insanity with DMs and these style markers. So you do get, you know, we've at least found we've shot more DMs than, like I said, than some people, and we find less lube is more, okay? Don't over lube it. It doesn't really go that nice. So this is already oiled up. You don't want to go too much. You want to make sure that you wipe down all the O-rings. There's a lot of inner O-rings. There's a lot of hidden stuff in here. So you do have to be a little bit more cautious on maintaining this gun compared to, say, an Ego, a G6R, anything like that, because there is a few more inner O-rings. If you're leaking out of the back, actually you're going to want to replace this O-ring first, and then you'll want to move to this back O-ring. Normally it's this back O-ring. This back O-ring more creates that last sort of seal, and if it's overpressurized because this O-ring is busted, then it's not going to be able to hold all that pressure compared to this back one. But so if by the time you replace this one, it's still going to be leaking out the back because that one can't hold all the same pressure. So I mean, this O-ring right here, replace this one, because if this one back here is bad, then this one back here is probably also bad, because I mean, still it's leaking and can't hold that amount of pressure. But it's sort of like an oh shit O-ring just in case. And it's gonna pop the bolt back in. Like I said, this one is already basically lubed up, but you saw how much lube I used on that one O-ring, and you slide it back in. Bada bing, bada boom. Don't mess with the regulator. Don't mess with the LPR. How you get these guns to shoot so consistent is that you don't take them apart. You don't field strip them all the way down. You don't separate the grip frame and all. You don't have to do that with this. Lube the O-ring, or lube the O-rings once every case or two. I mean, if you go to a big game, I know that's kind of hard. If you go to a big game, it'll work for the entire big game. But after you're done playing, take it out, lube it, maintenance it, do your thing. You know, in the middle of practice, if you shoot 5 cases at practice, I would definitely, or if you shoot 10 cases at practice, I would stop maybe at 5 and go ahead and re-lube it, because like I said, I mean, that's kind of, if you lube it, you know, less is more, more is, you know, then you're kind of gonna see a little bit of a difference, and you're just gonna have a bad time. So definitely maybe think about lubing it halfway through practice. But so it's a very, very easy gun to maintenance. Like I said, it's all user problems. If you're having any first shot drop off, if you're having any basic problems with it shooting, change the battery that way, because 90% of the time it's also the battery. Okay, so replace the battery first and then go from there. If it's leaking, replace the sail O-ring, and then if it's still leaking, if it's leaking out of the grip frame, check your pressures. Your pressures are probably all whacked and screwed up, especially out of the box, or if you just got done tuning it, your pressures are probably whacked and you did it wrong. But there's not many things that can go wrong, but once it goes wrong, someone doesn't know how to fix it because they just don't have the knowledge on it. That's why I'm here, trying to give you a little bit of product knowledge. But, so as you can see, this thing's sexy AF. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull the camera out. We are going to go ahead and do the conclusion. Alright, so we brought the camera out. The efficiency is basically going to be the same, probably a little bit more than the 14, because this one has the billy wing bolt in it. But overall, I have to say, the DM15 is a gun that I want to own, a gun that I've shot several years. Well, not several years, but I've shot the 14, I've shot the 12, and let me tell you, they shoot absolutely amazing. Okay, they shoot great. This gun is very, very well executed. The feed neck's a nice touch. The billy wing bolt is a nice little extra touch. Barrel system's amazing. It feels great in the hands. It's nice and stretched out. Okay, so if you're a back player and you're holding those lanes, you really got a good grasp right here, so you can actually get a good, you know, there's several different ways to hold it. That's why I've always loved my DM, is that if you guys watch the videos on that DM12 that I used to own, I've hold it several different ways. Okay, sometimes I'll have my thumb back here, I'll have my thumb up here, I'll wrap my thumb around back here, I'll hold it like this, or I've held it like, or not like that, but I've held it like this, where I'm so choked up on the barrel. I hold my gun several different ways, and there's no other gun. I mean, my VCOM's pretty damn close to it. The Vanquish, sort of. But there's no other gun like a DM that I've ever really felt so comfortable in maneuvering it in the hands. Okay, especially as a back to mid player. This works out great. It's just nice. It's got a good length, so you can really control that lane. And still, it's not long enough to where you feel like you can't dive into snake with it. Okay, I've taken dives into snakes. Still doesn't feel like it's that long to where a front player shouldn't be using it. You've still got a nice lot of control. You can still snap really fast with it. It's a really light gun. Now, DMs are a little bit heavier than some guns, but the thing is that this thing shoots absolute just effing butter. Okay, it's smooth as hell. When I first shot this thing, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I want it, because it shoots absolutely amazing. These things are just fantastic, spot on ball. The range on these things are absolutely amazing. Some people say 275 feet per second, 275 feet per second. I want to test it because I don't know what it is, but this on the Vanquishes, I see it drop off, or the ball just sort of drops down. Great in speedball, not so much in woods ball. I don't know what the difference is, but this thing normally seems, at least from my Vanquish, seems to, the ball just flat, just carries on a little bit farther. You can call me crazy, go ahead and shoot one. I don't really care, but at least that's from my personal experience. It's just, they're amazing gun. The DM series is just absolutely amazing. People get mad because the bolt hasn't changed significantly in 5 billion years. You don't need to change the bolt every single year so drastically, because this thing fucking works. You don't has put so much time and money into designing this bolt, and they have done an absolutely amazing job just how this entire system runs. It shoots just, it's so smooth. I can't get over that. When I first shot it, like I said, it just shot absolutely amazing. So I don't know why people necessarily hate on it. The eye-pipe system, I think, is one of the coolest, best entire thing made in the entire world. Just the thing is, when people have problems with it, it's normally user error. It's chopping paint. Well, you torque your barrel in there too hard. Or the other thing is, you put your eye-pipe in wrong like a retard. Okay, it happens. Just take it as learning experience. It's not shooting right now. When was the last time you lubed it? Oh, like 7 cases ago? Well, what the hell? It's a spool, okay? Like I said, just follow the maintenance video that I showed you, and you'll be golden, okay? My DM never went down on me. All of DJ's DMs haven't gone down on him. This one hasn't gone down. These guns don't go down if you treat them right, okay? It's not a Geo. You can't just take it, throw it in your bag, and pull it back out, and then have it shoot 50 billion balls again. But let me tell you, some people like that about the Geo, but this is going to be smoother than a Geo, okay? I've had several people that have shot Geos and used Geos, and then they go ahead and shoot something like this. They're like, yeah, that's smoother. So, like I said, over the chrono, it's plus 2, mine plus or minus 2 to 3. So it's very, very consistent. I have nothing bad to say about this gun. I really don't. Okay, it's a tested and proven gun. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's Team Insanity approved, I guess you can say. So, but yeah, like I said, if you want, go ahead and pick one up. I don't think you'll be disappointed, me personally, especially if you go ahead and follow the maintenance video. It's just, for me and for a lot of people on Team Insanity, like Jacob and I, have very different preferences in terms of guns sometimes, but we both agree pretty well that this is a just fantastic gun. And so we don't normally agree on lots of things, but this is one thing that we totally agree on. And same thing with Nick. Nick shoots an LV1. He's a pop it kind of guy, and he agrees. So it's, like I said, it's something to look into. It's a great gun. So yeah, I think I've sort of covered the entire thing. Go out and buy one. Everyone should own a DM in their entire collection, or at least shoot one in your life. So I'm kind of excited to see how this compares to the DM2. So yeah, deuces.